Welcome to the Restoration Revolution podcast, where we help restore hope and put your family on the road to recovery, one episode at a time. Here's your host and owner of Hazard Clean Restoration, Chad Mallonee.
Don't miss our upcoming interview with the owner of Hazard Clean Restoration as we explore the aftermath of hurricane damage. Join us to uncover the risk, preventive measures, and expert insight in mitigating the mold growth after a hurricane strike. Welcome back, everyone. This is Garfield Bowen, co-host / producer of the show, back in the studio with Chad Mallonee. Chad, how you doing today?
Doing great, Garfield. Doing great. Happy to be here.
So, Chad, can hurricane damage cause mold?
Yeah, actually, it can. With when you have hurricanes, you have water that can enter in various ways, but a lot of times you experience flooding events. I'll tell you, when I was over when Hurricane Ian hit the West Coast, you had homes where the ocean basically just went through the entire home. And when you think about that, you're having all this different water that's coming in from outside, and it's carrying all different pathogens, bacteria, viruses, all these different pathogens, and that's bringing it into your home. And so once it's in your home, even if you try to just dry it out and everything, a lot of those hazardous items or pathogens and everything can actually linger past that. And so, what happens is, when water intrudes, you really need to get a experienced restoration team in there, and they're not only going to take care of making sure that whatever items were affected and that the structure of your home is dried out correctly, but they're also going to address those health risks to those pathogens and potentially the viruses and bacteria and everything else, and make sure that those are addressed as well. So it's a multi-layered and multifaceted approach, and it's important, especially when it comes to hurricane water that's intruding, especially if it's a groundwater or a flooding event that occurs in your home.
How does high humidity affects everything?
Well, humidity. So mold loves humidity, loves humid environments, loves it here in Florida, and so when you have a really humid environment where there's been a lot of water saturation around, and that helps. It creates a positive environment for that mold to grow, and if when the humidity is lower, it makes it more difficult for the mold. But when that humidity is super high, that's a great environment for the mold to grow. And and we build our houses basically out of organic material, so mold uses that as a food source, and then it has the humidity and the dampness that it uses as well. And when it has both of those, that is almost a perfect environment for that mold to grow at a rapid pace. And unfortunately, in our homes, if we don't address it, we can have our entire homes, basically taken over by mold very quickly, a lot quicker than we would think.
I mean, we all know mold is bad, but could you shed some light on what are some of the real health concerns with molds?
It's a great question. It's a very complex question, but because there's so many different species and everything. But to simplify it, the mold has the mold spores that it uses to basically spread and to fight off on the molds and bacteria. On those spores, there's what's called mycotoxins, and those toxins are kind of almost like chemical warfare between the molds and everything else. Well, the issue is once that is in your home, and the mold will use that to do what it does in nature. And as we are inside our homes, as we're breathing in those spores, those mycotoxins in, at a high, the levels will continue to increase as the mold colonies increase. And as we breathe that in, it can really impact our health very negatively. A lot of times it just starts with some basic allergies, and then it can continue to get worse, where it really impacts your breathing, your respiratory breathing. It can impact, there's molds that impact your liver, your kidneys, and so it really becomes a serious health concern. And that's why, it's ensure you have someone that's, like state licensed and knows what they're doing when it comes to mold, and hiring them and making sure when they come in, they're going to make sure that they check everywhere and make it safe for your families. And that's what's important.
So I guess if you have water damage after a hurricane, you got to get help, and the right help, that the hazard clean help, right?
Yes, Garfield. Yes.
Listen, love it. You have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Restoration Revolution podcast, where recovery starts here. Let us help put your family on the road to recovery. Go to hazardclean.net or call 772-259-5018. That's 772-259-5018.